Blessings, blessings, beautiful souls. We are back once again with an astrological analysis. Today, we are going to be looking at the natal chart for New York State. But before I get started, if you like this page, if you like the content that I put out, if you can just go ahead and just hit the like button, hit the, share it with somebody that you think would enjoy this content, leave a comment. All of those actions really help this channel to be seen and it helps this channel to grow. So I truly appreciate you doing that. All right. Okay, so we're just going to be briefly looking at New York State. This video should take about 5 or 10 minutes, maybe a little longer. We'll just see where the flow takes us. Okay, so first thing. So first things first, New York obviously has the energy of a Leo midheaven because it's New York. Like when you think of the United States, there are key places that you think of, especially the interactions that I've had with foreigners. When I go outside of the United States, people are usually interested in either California or New York, right? Especially Times Square. So New York itself, New York State definitely has the energy of a Leo midheaven because it's very center stage. It entices you, especially the lights at Times Square. Leo Leo represents bright lights. So it can be like Christmas lights, it can be, like stage lights, it can be spotlights. Like Leo rules that. So to have Leo in your 10th house, the 10th house is how everybody else sees you. The 10th house is your public image. So when you think about New York, one of the main things you think about is Times Square. And when they have the countdown every year, you think about the ball dropping, and the ball is just, riddled with lights, like bright lights in the middle of Times Square. So, with me living in New York for 7 years, like I can tell you, like it's like the Macy's Day Parade, when it's any holiday, the bright lights are going to come out, but it's also just going to be like that creative energy. Leo represents creative energy. Leo represents that childlike energy. And when you go to New York, it's very playful. Every time you take the subway station, every time you take the train, depending on where you're going, if you're going from like Bryant Park, all the way to the Bronx, then you're definitely going to hear it's showtime, it's showtime, at least like one or two times. You know what I'm saying? Like New York is like that. So you got people doing flips and performing on a train. Leo is about performance. Leo rules the arts. Leo rules drama. Leo rules the theater, acting, directing, filmmaking. So when you think about a lot of shows that are being, shot here in the United States, besides California, it is New York. New York is one of the hubs for acting. Think of Broadway, think of theater. That's New York, right? And here in the 10th house, you have Venus at the 22nd degree. You have, of course, the midheaven that conjuncts with Venus, and you have the midheaven that conjuncts with Mercury. Okay. You got the midheaven that conjuncts with the part of fortune. Got the midheaven that conjuncts with Vesta. You have the sun here, and you have Uranus here, right? So all of this together, the sun being where it wants to be, just shining light on that creativity. Uranus is that enticing factor. See, Uranus is in a sun deacon, so it draws organizations there. It draws people spontaneously moving there, spontaneously leaving there. It draws in that, when you're on the train, just you can just be looking down at a book and boop, out of nowhere, it's showtime. That's Uranus at the 0 degree. You never know what's going to happen in New York. I always tell my mom, New York is like a never-ending film, a never-ending movie. It is one of my favorite places to live only because it is always something happening. And, like all of the apartments that I lived at, you can just walk outside be in the alley, smoke your little J. And then if you want to say, like, you know what, I want to play the game for 5 minutes, you leave the vicinity of your apartment complex, you're going to see a movie. Like you're going to see some wild shit, whether it be the corner boys, like, hey, I got that sour. Like it's always something to get into, no matter what time of day it is. That's New York, man. That is New York. I love it. So it's all about that. And the sun is in the sun deacon. So it just emphasizes that, that vibrant energy there. The Lord of the 10th is in the 10th, you know. You got Venus here at the 22nd degree, the 22nd degree, just emphasizing that how people see it, about the Venus here is about like that status symbol. Venus here is about like that, that flashiness, that material, the gold chains, the gold watch, the New York aesthetics, the big earrings. Like that's New York, baby. You know, that's New York. Um, so I could go, more in depth of like all of these planets here, like Mercury and everything, but I'm just gonna leave that to your imagination. Of course, Mercury being like the train and the communication that goes on there. So it's always somebody to talk to. Right. Um, what else we have here? What else we have? So another thing here is Neptune being at the 18th degree in the 12th house. Now, New York has definitely been flooded a couple of times. Like it's always like in a way it's always flooding. And with Neptune being in the 12th house, and this is the house that Neptune originally rules at the 18th degree, then you do have a lot of like, let's say when it's time for a new apartment complex to be built, or it's time for, it's like, I'm going to be very careful with how I say this here. It's almost like planned disasters that happen spontaneously in order to build like new infrastructure for businesses and businessmen. That's Neptune at the 18th degree and Uranus deacon in Libra. You got the sign of open enemies and hidden enemies. So it's a lot of government hands that create these natural disasters through flooding, like either flooding the subway system or flooding like, a nearby city, whatever, in order to build what they need to build. New contracts being established, right? Libra is all about contracts. Now, another interesting thing about New York here is that New York is going through its Pluto return. It's going through its Pluto return, okay? And it's also going through its Saturn return. Very, very important. Very, very important. So since it's going through its Pluto return, you're going to see, especially at nighttime, like a lot of it depends on the degrees, right? So to give you an example, like right now, Pluto's at the first degree, is about to head over to the second degree. So what takes place in New York, you got the New York stock market. So when Pluto hits the second degree, I would not be surprised if the New York Stock Exchange was to go through some type of like crash and then a rebirth moment, or some type of, new implementation with cryptocurrencies, since Pluto, you're not gonna within the next 20 years, since it's in the fourth house here. The fourth house rules security, the fourth house rules homes, it rules lands, it rules a bunch of stuff. But you always know, like I say, for the purposes of this video, we're just gonna focus on the fact that it rules homes. Okay, so you're definitely going to have a lot of people going through like this major eviction crisis in New York. It's going to be a major like eviction crisis. Now, this chart that I'm looking at here is for January the 29th. So this is for the end of this the month. The reason why I brought out January the 29th is because I believe this is going to be pretty important because you're going to have the sun here at the ninth degree. You're going to have the moon here at the second degree. You're going to have Pluto here heading over to the second degree. And then you're going to have Mercury here at the first degree, right? So during that time, with this combination, I would definitely look for some type of, hopefully not, I'm going to say hopefully not, but in the nighttime, some type of explosion, like a car explosion that's in like in a large group of people. This could be like in a crowded neighborhood. This can be someplace that is like a financial security, like so it could be like the Federal Reserve, some type of explosion outside the Federal Reserve. This can be, oh wait, my ears ringing. I'm getting a download. Hold up. Now the sun moves so fast that if it were to happen at the ninth degree, it would be foreign powers because it's, the ninth degree symbolizes that. And then, of course, the moon moves even faster. So if it were to happen in this window, it would definitely happen somewhere outside the Federal Reserve. People trying to influence, the the flow of the dollar, if you will. And that way, if the Federal Reserve were to take some type of hit, then symbolically that would be like the ushering in of the cryptocurrencies. Because I'm not sure if you all remember, I think it was last year, the Federal Reserve was going to release like a new cryptocurrency or something like that. Let me see if I can pull it up online real quick. Right, right. So it's the central bank digital currency, the CBDC. So this would definitely come back and play. Now, this was around 2022 in the middle of the pandemic. So I'm sorry if this is on YouTube, so let me say pandemic. Um, so yeah, I would look to definitely something about the central bank digital currency coming back into play here. Now, with Mercury here being at the first degree, this is why I'm saying like it could be something with like a car that's involved, because if we look at the transits for this day, right? Let's see what we have here. And you all know I don't have anything written down here. Like this is all freestyle. Whenever I pull up a chart like this, I try to look at the chart as I hit record. So I don't really pull up the chart until I hit record because for me as an astrologer, this is practice. I have to practice like daily, weekly to be even better. I'm nowhere near where I want to be as far as mastering astrology. So, this is definitely a freestyle. Okay, so on that day, you're going to have the transiting sun squaring the natal moon, opposing the natal sun. But what's going to be taking place? Y'all know I like to look at those critical degrees. So is there anything that's going to be messing with? So you're going to have Uranus squaring the natal Venus. Okay. Anything that's right. Saturn and so yeah, definitely something with financials, something with financials. It now, when you're looking at a chart, when I'm looking at any chart, whether it be for an event, for a person, whenever you see something in a chart once, then you can see it repeat itself multiple times. And here you have, since New York is going through a Saturn return, and you have Saturn here at the ninth degree, indicating like restriction due to a foreign power, especially when it comes to you know the the image of New York, the image itself, if you will, the image of New York, then you could have restrictions on financials here. Um, and it could be connected to, let me see where Venus is at the 25th degree. You have Saturn at the 17th degree. So yeah, you could, and Neptune is going to be at the 27th degree, conjuncting this, and this is going to be squaring this um, Chiron. So yeah, you definitely could have a restriction on financials, and this could be, some type of event that takes place that is connected to some type of car bombing, some type of, automobile accident, whether it be like a van, whether it be a semi, whether it be a drone, whether some type of mobile that's auto. You know what I'm saying? And let me see. Since you have Jupiter here, then this energy is going to be squaring this Jupiter, and the Jupiter is going to be retrograding at the 11th degree. So if I were in New York, especially around the end of January, beginning of February, I would definitely be keep my head on a swivel, especially if you're in the financial district, especially if you're anywhere near the Federal Reserve, if you're anywhere near like Manhattan, even near water. I would keep my eyes on the Statue of Liberty as well. I would definitely keep my eyes on the Statue of Liberty. Um, Any type of flooding that takes place in New York, like when Pisces gets to, since this is the fifth house and it's not the fourth house, then I wouldn't say that you would have like a flood that would drain out, flood any homes or anything, but you could have some rising water levels that could threaten the structural integrity of New York itself. So, meaning like ports, any like exports, imports, that type of thing. So boats, that type of thing. Ships, any ships near New York, right? But especially a Statue of Liberty, I would keep my eyes on. Oh, what else we have? Mm, mm. But this Pluto return within the next 20 years, and I know that is a large window. That is a large window. And I mean, I could definitely, if we had if I had like 15, 20 minutes to kill, I can go like search out like specific dates to give you based off the degrees. But I can tell you, and like, I would say, since that's at the 16th degree, I would say about 12 years. In 12 years, that's going to be the height of like, um, New York's going to be a hub for artificial intelligence. New York's going to be a hub for artificial intelligence, especially in 10 years. Especially in 10 years, you're going to have New York looking completely different. The subway stations are going to be, or the trains are going to be ran by AI. What do you call it? Conductors. You're going to have you're not going to have people at the taking your tickets anymore, or selling you your tickets anymore down at the booth. That's all going to be AI. um, you're not going to be able to easily hop over the train, the pay booth like you do now. Like everything is going to be super intelligent, super smart. But since this is the Pluto return, you have to have a rebirth moment in order to establish these, you know, in order to implement these new systems, right? So, like, you're definitely going to have some type of major shutdown. Oh, I think somebody's coming to do work on my apartment, so I might have to pause here. I hear a car coming down there, coming down the hallway, but we'll see. If y'all hear me pause, if I say I'll be right back, that just means I gotta pause to have my apartment worked on. But you have to have these systems go down in order to establish and implement these new smart systems. So it's definitely going to be a major blackout, right? Major blackout. Um, and to, I would even say when, okay, somebody just knocked y'all, so I'll be right back. Okay, so guy just left my house. Now I on doing this chart again. The reason I have this chart up is, one day in the future, y'all might see me breaking down these financial charts. One day in the future, y'all might see me breaking down these financial charts. For the people that just starting off, you might want to, speaking of the New York Stock Exchange, go look at AMC, go look at Nokia. All right, go look at Sundial. Anyway, let's get back to it. Let's get back to it. I don't know where I left off. This guy was working on my apartment for a little while, so my memories sometimes don't even work like that. Uh, I can remember things from like a long time ago, but when it comes to sometimes when it comes to like that short-term memory, it's not really, it don't really be hitting like that. Okay, so let's look at let's take a look at man, where were we? Where were we? Let me try to get back on track here. Do I see anything else here? Um, okay, so all right. So let me just try to find a stopping point here. Um, do I see anything else that I believe that is worth mentioning? I can say though, here's what I can say. Right now, you still have Mars that is retrograding in Cancer, right? And this Mars retrograding in Cancer is conjuncting. Let me see here. Oh, the retrograde. It's conjuncting with Jupiter, right? With the orb of 6. So the closer that orb gets to New York, one thing that I will look out for is some type of, hopefully it doesn't happen, but what I will keep my eyes peeled for would be some type of attack on some type of, security infrastructure in New York. And since you have Jupiter at the 14th degree, then this would be more connected to like financials, right? So some type of again, explosion, some type of attack in a way, a bombing with some type of like financial district like inside of New York. And since you also have Mars that is let me see here, conjunct Uranus. Yeah, then I would start to look out for that type of attack. And then when Mars goes back over here, then I will keep my eyes peeled on like Times Square, like the hub where all the lights are. Any type of like organization that has to do with acting, like so like, keep your eyes peeled on like Broadway. Um, because comes back here, when Mars comes back here, then it's going to be, let me pull it up just so I can show y'all. Let me pull up the date. I'll make a couple more minutes. All right, so I would even say like April the 18th until like May the 28th will be a window in New York where you could probably see some type of, you know, attack. Um, Pluto's going to be at the third degree. Yeah, some type of attack. Now, this can be, I'm going to give you a couple different scenarios of how this could play out briefly, given all the planets in the 10th. I'm not going to completely break down the 10th house because you know, that might be too technical for some people and y'all ain't come for all that. But I will say that you could find right in the middle of everything, like um, in the center of like Times Square, you could have something like a major bombing take place. Now, this could be something that is connected to like I don't know why AT&T is coming to mind, but some type of communications that go down. Some type of now this can be like a testing, and like they had a testing. I don't want to say testing because that sounds conspiracy. That sounds like conspiracy. They had some type of bomb that was blown up in Alabama or something. It was like in 2021 or something like that. It was a huge bomb that took place down south, and it affected the next state over. Yeah, I can't remember. It's not coming to my head right now, but you could see something like that where you could have some type of shooting attack, some bombing attack, some type of terrorist attack that could involve large groups of people, that can involve automobile, that can involve drone, that can involve, even some type of, I hope not, but helicopter, something like that, that kind of makes people reminisce of, 9/11, like that type of thing. You know, Tall buildings being under attack. That's even like a place like that tall AT&T building with like no windows, something like that. Um, Again, with this being a freestyle, y'all, I'm not, let me tell y'all this. Whenever I do a freestyle like this, whenever I read somebody's chart, I have a lot more time on my hands. So like I'll take like an hour and I would break down each planet here, each degree, each decan, each aspect, each varying degree, to give you kind of like a sharper picture. You see all these lines here? These lines are what you can call like a kite. These lines are what you can call like a grand square, a T-square, a yod, like these are all different type of aspects that goes into like a reading. But whenever I do something here for YouTube that's free, I try to stick to like the basics. I try to make it as easily understandable as possible so I don't lose people or so I don't bore people. So whenever y'all see me doing a freestyle, y'all getting the most basic breakdown. I'm not giving the same type of energy that I give when I read somebody's chart. When I love to be like precise. So when I'm giving y'all scenarios, I'm giving y'all scenarios without even like fully breaking down, being intricate. So just wanted to give y'all that disclaimer. But yeah, man. Yeah. Those are just things that I will watch for, the things that I said in this video. Now, New York will be going through its Jupiter return here pretty soon. Jupiter return. So you could see, you know, like an abundance of babies. You could see new infrastructure being built, new homes being built in New York, or new lands, or even like lands being seized by the bank. Not That's not taking in any aspects to Jupiter, but those are just things to look out for. Do I have anything else? Anything else? Um, Uranus and Gemini is taking place in the eighth house of New York. Now, when Uranus goes into Gemini, that's going to take place in the eighth house of New York. So, one thing that you can see when this takes place would be um, some type of, um, let me see if this is going to do any aspects. Something just off the cuff randomly. You could see New York change their like laws surrounding like state income tax. You could see New York change their laws surrounding car insurance. Uh, yeah, that type of thing. But when Uranus, I say like in 6 years, when Uranus gets to the, I'll of course come back and do another video, but this is going to be where it's important, where Uranus makes this conjunction with the vertex and the Chiron at the 18th degree. I won't go into it now, but I'll come back and we'll talk about that when we cross that bridge. Okay, y'all. So again, if you like this video, if you want to see more astrological analysis, be sure to like, be sure to share, be sure to follow. If you want to book a reading with me, go ahead, book a reading. I'll put the readings as products in this video, so you can just easily click on it. If you want to learn astrology yourself, I do have a course that I created specifically for beginning astrology, understanding the houses, the signs, the planets, just the basics. Go ahead and tap in with that course. It's a low cost course comparatively to other courses you will find online, and I spent about 2 days creating it. So I appreciate y'all being here, 5D Mystery School. Gratitude for tapping in always. Tap in with me on Twitter, on Threads, on Instagram, on Patreon, Discord, and I'll see y'all next time. Keep your head on the swivel. Peace.